I guess I should add myself. Hold on a second. Let me do this properly, I suppose. Am I better? Okay, here. Add myself to screen. Anyways, you guys, the transcripts, I guess, have come out. And I seen them on Sleuthy Goosey's. I seen her post something and I was like, but I was just at the documents. There's like nothing there. And then Adam sent me them. So I don't know if they, because you know how sometimes people get them before, like usually people within the courts and that get them before. So all of a sudden I'm sitting there trying to find them really bad. And then all of a sudden, Adam Aspen, I call him Adam, it's Aspen, had sent me them. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I haven't even looked at these. You guys, it's like 29 pages. And I'll make it bigger here. Hold on a second. Um, and anyways, so yeah, been waiting for these, haven't we? So let's see here. And Aspen will be joining us in a moment as well. Just so you know. So welcome to the live here on It's a Crime and Shame. If you can, if you don't mind, please hit that like button for us. That would mean a lot, of course. It always does. Just being honest, it helps the algorithm for the channels when you guys do stuff like that. So we appreciate that. So yeah, so like I said, Aspen will be coming in here. Hi, Ben. How are you? Let's just say a few hellos before we get started. Ben, you know, hey, it's a crime and shame. And I had just gotten out of the shower too. I was just like, I blow dry my hair in a bit. So if it looks like a drowned rat, oh well, I'll live. Hi, Donnie. How are you? Hi, Queen. How are you? Streamlabs is in the house, of course. Missing / unsolved crime. Hello, I jumped in here quicker than ever when I saw the title. Yeah. Well, you know what? I love to do things together. And so I have not read these at all. I like to do it with you guys and read as we're going on together. I kind of prefer always au naturel. Hence, half the time why our lives are just we know the topic, like we know tonight is Elvis Field's topic, and we have the certain information and whatever, but we just always run with it, au naturel style. Um, Hi Shane, how are you? Are these new? Yeah, they just literally came out. You can see the date right there, the 20th at 3:25 p.m. So just within the last hour. Hi Trinity, how are you? Okay, so you know what? Let's just kind of like cut to the crop and uh, get into this. And like I said, Aspen will be joining us as soon as he gets settled in at home there. And my thing keeps popping up. I love how Facebook says, "Be ready to start your live." A little slow there, Facebook. A little slow. Okay, so let me take that off the screen. And because I have to go to a different screen, I might as well just turn my camera off as well. And yeah, I hope this is. I think that's maybe a little bit too big. Uh, this should be good. But anyways, okay. So state of Indiana, whatever, Ariel, Richard Allen, Relator, Carroll Court, Circuit County, Respondent Supplement, Record, Volume, whatever, 1 of 1 or pages 1 of 29. So what do we got here? Transcript and camera proceedings starts at page 3, verification, certificate of service. Okay, that's all on the last page. Okay, so record of camera proceedings held on October 19th, 2023, you guys. Okay, so appearances, we got Nicholas McClellan, Rosie Baldwin for the defendant, for Richard Allen, Judge Gull, and Jody L. Williams, reporter. So proceedings, let's see. So Attorney Nicholas McClellan, Judge, I want to do some introductions. I finally got approval from our counsel to hire a paid attorney to help me do so, or to help me. So the court, okay, McClelland, small town local government. So this is Jim Luttrell. He's a retired prosecutor from Grant County. He decided or agreed to come aboard. Let's see, the court, okay, have a seat. Mr. McClelland, he signed the oath to my office. The court, okay, Mr. McClelland, and all that. I'm gonna handle a written appearance. Attorney James Luttrell, Nice to meet you, Judge. Okay, all the niceties going on here. The court, nice to meet you, Jim. Mr. McClelland, next week. The court, okay. Mr. McClelland, okay, maybe tomorrow if I have time, Judge, if I get it done. The court, okay. Mr. McClelland, but he will be entered in and we're trying to get him up to speed. The court, okay, well, good. Attorney Rosie, well, I'm the one that kind of asked to huddle up. So if you want me to lead or if you want me to say some things, I'm okay with whatever approach you want to take here. The court, go ahead. Rosie, well, I think the court, I've got Jody's our portable FTR going. So just that we've, court reporter there, Mr. Rosie, okay, that's fine. The court got a record. Mr. Rosie, obviously I'm happy to hear that the court's going to make some decisions on pending pleadings today. The court, affirmative response. Rosie, I assume Andy feels the same way. It's time to kind of get some closure, if you will, with regard to those items so that we can move forward. It's probably obvious that the tension from our side is coming. From the words disqualification that were murmured in the phone conference that we had a couple weeks ago. I'm assuming you understand how that kind of raises the intensity level of the circumstances. And I guess if I have a concern today, it's that, we're going to go out on the kind of in the public, so to speak, in the courtroom on the record and have a discussion about ongoing investigation. And that's what I kind of gathered from the email. I think you invited Nick to talk about that if he wanted to. The court, affirmative response. Rosie, and it makes me a little uncomfortable because I don't know. First of all, there are no pleadings that are pending, whether they're motions to disqualify or contempt citations or whatever they might be. That's really frame any of the issues. And I have no problem. I mean, I don't have any problem talking about this stuff privately or on the record in an ex parte. Hey, is that my buddy? Is that my buddy? Okay, 1 second, Adam. Hey, buddy.
Hey.
Or let's do it this way. On there. Okay, so Adam, I'm just on a 7 here. So I'll go a couple more pages, and then you can take over for about 5 or so, and then we'll just kind of do that if you want.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Was anything big in the first couple pages?
Not yet. Not yet, because the first 3 pages are, blah, 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 niceties and just nothing. So it really started from page 3 onwards there on that. So, okay. Do you need someone to fill in and say, yeah, if you could just do that, an affirmative response, that would be perfect. Okay. So, I just think it's a little difficult to expect that there be any kind of structure to the idea, hey, there's an ongoing investigation and just tell us what's going on. And I don't know that it has any relevance to what we're really trying to accomplish today. And I also don't know why Nick would want to talk about an ongoing investigation in public, knowing that in itself could be a little damaging to the circumstances. And so we're lawyers. We're used to having issues framed. We're used to having an opportunity to prepare. And I don't have anything to hide. And I know he doesn't have anything to hide. You've maybe gathered that we've cooperated. We ran into the state police posts, our respective posts, if you will. And I had somebody advise me of my rights. And I waived those rights. And I gave a formal statement. He did the same. And I'm not sure that we're going to benefit or that this will be productive just to open floor this. And that's my biggest concern today. The court, this is your spot here. Affirmative response. Andrew Baldwin, I'm more of the due process side. I'm not really sure what will happen, but I just don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. And I would like the opportunity. Adam, your mic, or I'm hearing your noise background.
Sorry.
Better than eating chips like the other night, eh? That was funny. I don't know what's going to happen, and I would like the opportunity to know what's going to happen and be fair, prepare for their claiming or whatever before it happens. And I don't feel like this is a little hard to read with all these things like that. I don't want to say ambush, but it's hard
But
to know for me what to do when I don't know what's happening there. There's not a pleading where we can respond to things like that. So you had indicated that when Nick said, I don't know if he said the word disqualification, but the court, oh, he did. Mr. Mr. Baldwin, what is that word? The court. This you are the perfect person for this. I'll just pretend like I'm saying it for you. Affirmative response. Mr. Baldwin, okay, I didn't know if he just said it in a more generic way. The court, holy, um, Mr. Baldwin, and your response was, I'm leaning in that direction or something along those lines. The court, um, Mr.
mhm.
Baldwin. And so that's a cause of concern. I mean, we're still trying wanting to try this case in January, and I'm willing to, you know, we have made some changes at my office that will prevent this from ever happening again, and we can take directives from the court. We can, we're locking down every single thing on Delphi. It's in a dedicated it's in a dedicated room. We put locks on our conference room or the war room where this guy went. My friend, they're talking about Mitch Westerman, of course, here,
Yeah.
guys, went in and did this without my knowledge. And no document, whether it's benign or something super, like a crime scene photo, is ever going to be left alone for a single solitary second ever again. So, I'm hoping that that can be something that the court, can say, all right, that's fine. And then let's get on with the trial. But I'll shut up now. After this page, then you can read for some there, Adam. The court,
Okay.
anything, Nick. Mr. McClellan, Judge, I guess my plan today was to give the court a summary of the investigation. I've got witnesses here and exhibits to present that go towards the investigation.
I'm more than happy to hand over those to the defense. I know it may harm the investigation, but I think it's important that the court hear those things. I guess the heart of it, inaudible investigation, I think it's important. I think the importance of hearing is outweighed by that, and so I have those things. I'm concerned that the leak is not just a one time leak. The evidence that we have shows it's an ongoing leak. However, it's being done, and it's just what's next. I have an issue. What's next? I mean, I spent the past 17 days investigating this night and day when I should have been focused on preparing for trial. And when I say night and day, I mean phone calls at 2 a.m., 3:30 a.m., night and day. And so that's where I'm at, Judge. Again, I'm an officer of the court. I'm reporting to the court what I know, and that's kind of where I see my role. Okay, Mr. Rosie, this is starting to scream due process to me. I haven't seen any of these exhibits, and frankly, I don't know anything about any of this. And I'm not distancing myself from Mr. Baldwin. I'm just saying I have no connection with any of these people, okay? And the idea that somehow the prosecutor is going to get to roll out a bunch of statements and exhibits and, testimony without us having any forewarning or any idea, any way of scrutinizing that, seems a little outside of the boundaries of due process to me. Plus, again, I get back to what is relevance. I get back to what is the relevance to what is going on in this case. Are we going to are we going to use an open courtroom to air an ancillary matter? It's not really connected in any way at this point to the proceedings that are ongoing, whether it's the Franks issue or anything of that nature. And I will tell you this, I'm prepared to show the court this. I would rather do it in private. This problem has been a problem from the very beginning. I have 10 pages of a deposition transcript in this file from my deposition. our deposition that I took of Trooper Holman, sorry, of Trooper Holman in this case. And in that deposition, he talks openly about how there are crime scene leaks from the very beginning, unequivocal crime scene leaks, and that as soon as this crime occurred, they were investigating information that had been released because there were lay people that were part of the search party. And the implication is, and I've got the transcript, is that these people that found those girls started to essentially disseminate or distribute information. And law enforcement essentially tried to catch up with them. But it was really too late, as you may expect. Once it gets in the hands of the public, it's too late. So he told us that almost volunteered that information to me in the deposition. The second concern I have is that I think I shared with the court just an example a week or two ago. Somebody sends me a court TV, bit. And I can assure you, I've never watched one of those bits on this case. I don't even know if I've ever really watched court TV. Maybe back when Simpson was ongoing. I don't know. And in that bit, Barbara McDonald is talking. 2 different occasions she mentioned how she's getting information from investigators on the ground that were at the crime scene. Now we can draw implications about that, but most importantly, it was corroborated by the fact that she was holding in her hand documents that I know to be directly related to the Purdue report. I mean, I saw the pictures. I know where those came from. And if the point here is, I'm going to say this maybe a little loosely, but forgive me. I don't care. I don't care that all this stuff is out there because it's been out there for 5 or 6 years. I don't have time. He doesn't have time. He doesn't have time to sit and try to marshal all of this stuff while this case is ongoing because there's no end to it. And at this point, the court needs to have some context that there is nothing new. I lost sleep over the fact that there's a man who's dead that I don't even know. And frankly, Andy doesn't know. And it's tragic. I don't know what life circumstances he had or what surrounded this. None of that information has been shared with us. But at the end of the day, what's going on out in the cyber world and in the public, as you might expect in the case of the magnitude of what's been publicized for 6 years, was beyond our control before we even got involved. Mr. Baldwin. Oh, here's where they talk about ruckus. There's even a guy in Florida who says the guy in Texas who leaked all this stuff has received from a disgruntled Carroll County employee a whole file filled with the stuff, and photos included. And I haven't even seen the photos that were leaked. I don't know what?
Are they talking about Mike Thomas there? The disgruntled Carroll County employee or somebody else?
Yes.
Okay.
They're talking about Mike Thomas.
Yeah. Okay.
They're talking about Ruckus, and then they're talking about Mark Robert, and then they're talking about Mike Thomas.
Okay.
And I haven't seen the photo that were leaked. I don't know what they are. If this could be set for a formal hearing in the future, where we have a chance to do it the right way, then that's one thing. But to go in there, we don't have any way to counteract anything. If I know what it is, I can, I know what that is, or I don't know what that is. And it's, in the meantime, we can, I don't know. We honestly, this is the worst part. Lowest point of my career right now. Well, hold my breer. Because somebody did what they did to me. And I know that has nothing to do with Richard Allen. The court. It certainly does not. Mr. Baldwin, Richard Allen needs to have counsel there. So I just don't want to go in there and not be able to fight back with the evidence that or the witnesses that we have to counteract whatever they claim that they have. So the court. Okay, here are my thoughts in no particular order. I don't know how many folks are out there, and I certainly don't wish to air publicly to the world the concerns that I have about this matter. My intent in having this hearing was to go through some of the pleadings that we have not yet decided. So I was going to start with reminding everybody about the decorum order, reminding everybody why we're here, to shut up, etc. There have been reports to my sheriff about disruptive people, and I will remind people, if they are disruptive, they will be removed. And my sheriff is fully prepared to execute arrests if necessary. Because I know we've seen in other hearings people have been disruptive and hateful. So, under the rules, under the canons of judicial conduct, I'm required to advise people within the room that the media is here and they are filming. They're doing pool coverage, so there's only 2 cameras in the courtroom, and everybody's going to get coverage from that. And then, I want to talk about the pleadings. Defendant filed a verified motion for immediate transfer of custody. The state filed its response. The motion, again, has a lot of inaccuracies and some speculation, and it has been refuted ably, I think, by the affidavits that have been submitted by the state, and I'm going to deny the motion. The defendant then filed a motion for broadcasting order. The state filed its response. Your motion's overbroad. It's got a lot of irrelevant verbiage in it, and I'm required to consider individual requests for hearings. So I will. If the media wishes to have an individual request submitted, they know fully well how to do that, and I provided to counsel all of the requests that I've gotten so far for this hearing. So if you want to file for them for particular hearings, you're certainly welcome to do that. But the media is all over this, and they know how to do this. Mr. Rosie. Yeah, I was just trying to understand, are you suggesting that you're going to determine that on a case-by-case basis or a hearing-by-hearing basis? The court. Hearing by hearing. Mr. Rosie. Okay. The court. Yeah. Mr. Rosie. All right. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood what court. The state filed its motion for leave of court to subpoena the third-party records. I think that was directed again to DOC. I clearly can't grant that. I'm going to grant the defendant's motion to quash. But if you continue to raise his medical and mental health in pleadings, that's fair game then for that to be provided to the state. You have also filed, Mr. McClellan, a motion for future pleadings and filings to be sealed prior to being released to the public. I've not gotten a response from the defense. Mr. Rosie, can I speak on that? The court, sure. Mr. Rosie, I think it's important to note that we have this discussion come up before, and there was basically we decided, okay, we're done sealing stuff. We're going to make it public. Before we filed the Franks motion, I had a long conversation with the court reporter, Karen Allen, over in Delphi, because I wasn't sure about Allen or Roller. I always want to call her Karen. Mr. McClellan, Allen. Do you want to read it all, Sunny, or do you want me to keep going?
I'll start here and then we'll switch off again. Fair enough?
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Rosie, Karen Allen, because I wasn't sure about the mechanics of how all this stuff was moving from Delphi to your office. And I know that you had set up some kind of website or something that people could access. And I was under the understanding in speaking with Miss Allen, I'm not blaming her for anything, but that when we filed these things, they were going from them and they were hitting a button. We were filing with Carroll County. They were hitting enter and they were sending it to you, and you were essentially filtering this stuff, or at least you were seeing it before it became public. The court, nope, Rosie. And so that's why in talking with her, that's the way I understood the mechanics, which I think is what happened to a pleading the other day, from what I understand. We filed something and you either put it in a queue. I think I tried to do some homework on that. And that's why Baldwin, I was part of those conversations, and she said, that's what she said. Can I help but not help but laugh at that? That's what she said. Okay. The court. So does that need a hearing? I'm happy to have a hearing on that. I don't have a problem with that. Rosie, sorry. Well, I don't really, I guess. I'm just telling you for context. That's why Baldwin. I mean, could there be a happy medium of we file it confidentially and then the judge then gets a chance to review it first, ? Because that's what we thought was going on anyway. But if that's not what's going on, the court, no, it's being filed confidentially if you mark it as such. Baldwin. I know. Yeah, I know that now. The court. I had my staff mark the memorandum confidential after it had been filed and disseminated to the public because the actual warrant was in there, and that's covered under a miscellaneous cause number. I'm happy to have a hearing, Rosie. Well, what is your ruling? I guess to make sure I understand, I don't want to fight about something that we don't need to argue about. The court. I haven't ruled on that, Rosie. Okay, the court. You haven't filed a response in that, Mr. Rosie. Yeah, the court. My question is, do we need a hearing on that or do you wish to file a response? The Frank's motion clearly needs a ruling, and I'm working on that. The motion and exhibits are about 1,500 pages, and there are hours and hours and hours of interviews that have been made available that my IT staff have now cleaned to make sure that they're okay. We already talked about that. And then, I mean, that brings us to my concerns that I had that I raised with all of you on our phone call. And I write everything out. And this is what I intend to say in open court. I have concerns regarding the defense team and the totality of the circumstances surrounding your representation of Mr. Allen. Candidly, my concerns began at our hearing on November 22nd of last year. Mr. McClellan filed a motion for a gag order, and we were in chambers, and you assured me, gentlemen, we don't want media in our lives. We will not try this case in the media. And then less than 2 weeks later, you issued an undated press release that contained an awful lot of information that would not normally be revealed. I don't know. I think you knew or should have known that those were potentially how do you say that word? Violative, 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 violet, whatever, of Rule 3.6 of the Rules of Professional Responsibility. But is it that the press release that prompted me to issue the order December 2nd, granting the gag order until further hearing? April 18th of this year, you filed a notice of tort claim against the Department of Correction. You stated that in that notice that your intent was to pursue our client's claims against you. The full amount of damages sought on behalf of my client is unknown. I don't know how you could do that in representing Mr. Allen in a criminal matter and then launch off into a civil matter. I think that's inappropriate. May of this year, we were notified by the state of the Brandon Woodhouse arrest and the subsequent discovery of your work product. And I think that it was an outline that you created for yourselves with the discovery. It was pretty detailed. I don't know if that's the right word. That apparently happened in December of last year, and that was not revealed to anyone, not shared with the court. It wasn't shared with you, although apparently you guys knew about what was going on. Mr. Baldwin, he didn't know. The court, you knew. Mr. Baldwin, I did know. The court. So then Mr. Woodhouse gets arrested, and here we are, grossly negligent to email that to the wrong Brad. Your pleadings on the safekeeping order contain inaccuracies and falsehood. That was proven in the hearing we conducted in June. The evidence presented by the state clearly demonstrated your falsity of your claims, and that was very troubling to me. I'll do one more, Adam. And then the last couple of weeks that we had been dealing with, the state provided you discovery. That has been severely compromised. We have now had an ongoing investigation. I'm not going to call it a criminal investigation. I don't know what it is, but it's clearly being investigated by the state of Indiana. Everyone involved sought counsel, including you, Mr. Baldwin. You've had an attorney enter a written appearance this morning. I don't want to get into the investigation candidly. You are the constitutional authority for the state of Indiana. If you choose to pursue it, that is up to you. If you choose to abandon it, that is clearly up to you. I'm glad to hear that you have cooperated, but Mr. Baldwin's attorney has clearly shared. I don't know if you've seen his pleadings, Mr. McClellan. I saw it, Judge. Yes, I got it kind of late. He emailed us and then, okay, from the court. McClellan, I saw that was the file. I saw that was filed on the way here. The court. Well, yeah, so he's clearly shared it in his pleading down to the fact that the individual has committed S. He included the fact that you left materials all over a conference room table accessible to anyone, that this is your friend of yours who apparently you have consulted with on this case. Again, referring to Mitch Westerman. So again, it is up to you if you wish to pursue that. I'm looking at the totality of the circumstances. You know, when I looked up at suppression, the case law requires me to look at the totality of the circumstances, and that's what I am doing. And it pains me to say this, but the totality of these circumstances demonstrate gross negligence and incompetence on the part of the defense team. I am unsatisfied with your representation of Mr. Allen. I am gravely concerned about his rights to have competent, non-negligent representation. He currently doesn't have the right now, but what you have demonstrated is negligence and incompetence.
Now, I am sharing my thoughts with you privately. I don't want to say this in open court. I would encourage you to talk privately about what you wish to do. I don't want this coming out. It's not where we need to be with this case, but I will. But you don't know that. You do, but you don't know that. You have just now been made aware of my concerns and where I'm landing. So if you wish to have a private conversation, I would encourage you to do that. I don't believe your client is here yet. No, he's not. Clearly, you'll need to speak with him as well. So, Mr. Baldwin, I'm not good at reading between the lines. The court, you're a lawyer. That's what you do for a living. Mr. Baldwin, when you say have a private conversation, are you talking the four of us or the court? I'm talking about you. I'm not accusing the state of gross incompetence and negligence. I am finding gross incompetence and negligence with you, Mr. Baldwin. So, Mr. Rosie, forgive me. Go ahead, Mr. Baldwin. No, Mr. Rosie. I mean, obviously, reading the tea leaves here. What you're giving us a chance to do is bow out gracefully, if you will, if that's the right term. Is there a scenario where the court would accept it if I stayed on the case? I mean, I'm a team player, and I'm not the kind of guy that just bail out on somebody just for the sake of doing it. But I think it's obvious that, he can speak differently, but I'm not as connected to some of the, the most recent circumstances as he is. Mr. Allen is in a situation where he's going to have counsel if he has new counsel, it's going to take them a year to get up to speed with the depth of information that continues to come in. And so I think that his Sixth Amendment rights matter. And, I'm probably the one that can at least move this thing forward with some sense of judicial economy. I don't like it, and that's not what I intended to do when I came in here today. But that would kind of be a worst case scenario on our side, I guess. And so is that an option that the court would entertain? The court, no. Mr. Rosie. So basically what you're saying is you guys either quit on your own accord or you make me fire you. That's what the court. No. I'm saying to you that this is what I plan to say in court on the record when we convene at 2:00. Mr. Rosie. Well, so in the culmination of what is the culmination of that you're removing us from the case, the court. I will, based on what I've just shared with you, Mr. Rosie. Okay, well, I want to make sure that we're the court, and I'm just giving you the opportunity to have a conversation. How do you want this to go? I don't want to do this, but I will if I have to. Mr. Baldwin. Should we bow out gracefully, as Brad says? Would we even have a hearing? How would that go? Because if we're out of the case, then, Mr. Rosie, then you're going to go ahead and rule on a bunch of stuff without lawyers in the room. That's the court. No, I would not do that. If you decide that your best course of action is to file a motion to withdraw, you can do that today. And I'll send Mr. Allen back to the DOC after you've had a chance to speak with him. Mr. Baldwin. Would that happen before the hearing or after the hearing? That's the court. Your motion to withdraw would happen before the hearing. Mr. Baldwin. Okay, that's what I wanted. Yeah. The court. Yeah, because he has rights, and I don't want those rights compromised by having a hearing with him and not having counsel. I assume if you choose to withdraw, that his financial situation hasn't changed, and that he would still be entitled to court-appointed counsel. I can't imagine that he has the ability to, at this point, hire counsel. I don't know that. Mr. Baldwin, Brad and I need to go talk. The court. Yes, you do. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. McClellan. Yep. Thank you, Judge. Off record, on record. The court. Thank you, Jody. Court reporter. You're welcome. The court. Okay, yes. Mr. Rosie. All right, so obviously we're trying to figure out how to address this issue with a very short notice, very little notice. The first thing we did is really talk to the client. The court. Or, Hudis, can you read that for me? Affirmative response. Mr. Rosie. Our client is a big part of this, the biggest part of this. And he has communicated to us that he does not want us to withdraw from this case. He wants us to continue with his representation. He understands, I think, that he's not the gatekeeper, or he doesn't have the authority to really force the court to do that. He would like to say that on the record. We asked him if that's what he wanted to do. We suggested maybe he would do it in the chambers. It seems a little bit of a difficult position to put a man who's accused but not been found guilty, put him in a courtroom and have him, have to speak in this circumstance with 15 minutes notice. Andy and I'm going to speak for myself. I'll let him speak for himself. I'm going to file a motion to withdraw. I don't want to do it, but I don't think that I have a choice at this point. The options I've been given without any notice by the court really are either I withdraw or I'm going to be publicly shamed, and that's the way I see this. And I think that public shaming is there's not only a professional element to that, I think there's a personal aspect to that too. And when the media is teed up like this, and we show up here today with the court having told us that we were going to conduct some business, and that somehow bleeds over into forced resignation or whatever you want to do, however you characterize this, that I don't feel like I have any other choice professionally. I have a life beyond this courtroom. And beyond this case, I have a family too. And I have a law practice. But I think we had been given some notice of what we were actually, if this had been framed in a pleading format or some formal disciplinary claim where there's a process for that in our business, then we could have come in here today with an opportunity to refute some of the things that you clearly had, thought through and prepared before we got here. And we didn't have that opportunity. And it's the idea that I'm going to have to go in here to an open courtroom and essentially defend myself against claims that I don't agree with without any notice and without any opportunity, I think is unfair. But I'm also, I also have some common sense. And, me going in there and standing my ground because my client wants me to is just going to make things worse for him. And I'm going to withdraw my appearance. I'm going to walk out of here. I'm going to go down to my car. I'm going to call my staff. I'm going to have them prepare a motion, and I'm going to withdraw my appearance. But I'm doing it because I don't think I have any other choice professionally. Not because I want to, and not because my client wants me to. And I respect the court has an opinion. But we are professionals, and we can disagree. The court. Of course. Mr. Rosie. And, I am extremely, I'd say frustrated probably is a soft word, with the idea that we showed up today without any real opportunity to prepare for this. And I think it's just improper. And that's where I am. And that's my position. The court. Well, I think we talked about that when you asked for a disqualification. And I indicated on our phone conversation, I'm inclined to do that. Mr. Rosie. It was a phone conversation that was not on the record, and then some follow-up emails. The court. True. Mr. Rosie. There's an informality to that. The court. True. Mr. Rosie. And you also said that you hadn't even done any research and you hadn't had time to talk to your senior judge and all these other things. And he hasn't filed a pleading with the court either. The court. No, I'm doing this on my motion. Mr. Rosie. And I'm a lawyer who practices in a lot of courtrooms. And I've been through some disqualification actions. I've been 20 years. I've never had a disciplinary complaint in my life that's been confirmed, if you will. but I've seen lawyers disqualified, and there's a process for that, and it's not this. With all due respect, where you walk into somebody's office, a judge's office, and they read a prepared statement to you, and essentially that statement is an indication, an indictment of my professional, activities, and then you're handed a, essentially a piece of paper with two options, and one of them is, I'm going to go out of here and shame you, or you can quit. You can understand how upset that would make any lawyer. And I don't think it's the right way to handle this from a due process standpoint. So I have no choice but to, withdraw my appearance, because I'm not going to go in there and take a public shaming without having any notice of it. That's where I am with it all. Mr. Baldwin, I'm the same, withdrawing. I mirror what he said. I mean, I do appreciate giving us the advance notice. If there is some appreciation for that, I do appreciate that. But beyond that, I wanted to take this and finish it out. I'm stunned. I don't know what to say. So I'll just say I'm moving to withdraw orally. The court. Okay. Mr. Rosie, is the court going to generate some further instructions on what to do with all of the discovery that we have and the court? I already have. Do you want to read something?
Sorry. Let's see here. So, Rosie, all of this information and the court, there's an order. I granted the state's protective order on discovery. Rosie, no, I'm talking about my possession, all of this information. I am to take it out of the Am I to take it out to the trash can? Am I supposed to wait for another attorney? Is the court going to give us some guidance on how to move all this information from one law office? The court, I did. Rosie, to another, the court. When I granted the state's protective order, then I think it's the last paragraph of the protective order, directs you to return it all to the state of Indiana, all the copies, all of the whatever you gave them. They are required under that order to return to you, Rosie, at the conclusion of the case, the court, or your representation. Rosie, I know what order you're talking about. I read the order before I came today. The court, okay. Rosie, so we're supposed to just take everything back and give it to the state and then just retain our work product until somebody asks for it? The court, your work product is your work product. I mean, I would hope that you would wish to share with the successor counsel. I would hope that you would help the successor counsel just with the transfer of all the information, and because that's in your client's best interest to do that. But that's entirely up to you. That's your work product that you have developed. I mean, clearly the discovery is required to go back to the state. Rosie, okay, thank you. What do you want to do with Mr. Allen? I can transport him back to the Department of Correction. Rosie, do you want to make a record of this or with his? I mean, I think it's appropriate that the court let him speak into the record his thoughts, unless the court just accepts that as notice that those are his opinions. The court, well, you wouldn't want to lie to me about that. Rosie, I would not lie to you about anything. The court, so of course, that's your representation. That's what he would say if he were brought in here. I can't imagine the DOC being comfortable bringing him into my office. I would not be comfortable having him in my office. Rosie, would the court also be inclined to mark as an exhibit the prepared statement so that is part of the record? The court, I have the record rolling. Rosie, okay. Court, yes. So, Mr. Baldwin, so we're gonna leave, I guess, and you're gonna, how is this? You're gonna get up on the bench and say, the court, I will just indicate to Mr. McClellan's going to be in there with Mr. Luttrell, and I'll just say that we've had a turn of events, which she did, and defense counsel is withdrawing, and that's all I'm gonna say. Mr. Baldwin, can you wait for us to get out of here? The court. That's when we saw him going by that door.
He scurried by that door.
Remember that?
Hey.
The court, of course. And how can we have you? I don't know where you parked at. We have a hearing set for October 31st that I'd like to keep as a trial setting and an appointment of new counsel. And if you can get things together by that date to return to Mr. McClellan, that would be good. Otherwise, if with your permission, I will give successor counsel your contact information. Baldwin, okay. Rosie, okay. The court, I was expecting a uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Where are you parked? Rosie. Nice to meet you. Sorry to inaudible. Mr. Luttrell, inaudible. Baldwin. Just right out there in front of the building. I mean, there's a parking lot. There's a little parking lot right in front of the building. I don't know what. The court. Everybody's in the courtroom, so I don't think that there's anybody out there in the hallways. Rosie. I'm gonna go get my staff member. I'm gonna have her. I don't need any, well, rendezvous at some point and try to get the stuff back. Mr. McClelland. Okay, that's fine. Between Steve and I and Sarah and you. Mr. Rosie, okay. Mr. McClelland, we will get it all. Mr. Rosie, that's fine. McClelland, done. That's either Sarah. Rosie, thank you. The court, thank you. This concludes the proceeding had in camera on October 19th, 2023 in this cause. And then you can read this if you want. Adam.
Certificate of Reporter. I, Jody Williams, or Jody L. Williams, an official reporter for the Allen Superior Court, Allen County, Indiana, do hereby certify that I transcribed from electronic reporting equipment all of the proceedings had in camera on October 19th, 2023 in said cause. I further certify that as above and foregoing transcript is a full, true, and complete copy of said proceedings. Witness my hand and seal this 23rd day of October 2023.
And I think
And that's it.
And those are just, yeah, the documents verification, certificate of service and stuff like that. So I guess
There
now
you have it.
yeah. So is there any, like, there's nothing really shocking there to me because that's exactly for the most part how, let me just go back up and scroll. I mean, that's pretty much how I saw it all playing out in my head anyway,
Right.
by what was said.
Sorry.
So is there anything that, like, the only thing that, the, you know, obviously for me, one of the things would be that he's basically saying, well, we had this phone call, but nothing was like, you know, like, you should have given us some time so we could
Right.
prepare. I'm going to cough one
Well,
sec. Go ahead, talk. Go ahead, Adam.
I found I don't think anyone that already came into this um, with any preconceived notion of what they believed about what happened in those in chambers. I don't think it's going to change anyone's opinion. I think that if you went into this before you heard them or read them, I think that if you thought that Rosie and Baldwin were justified in their complaints, you're going to continue to think that. And I think that if you believe that that the state did nothing wrong and that Gull was within her rights to do the actions or to take the actions that she did, you're going to maintain that that thought as well. So the one thing I will point out, and this is factual, when I think that a weak argument that Rosie and Baldwin have when they talk about being given notice about this hearing. I mean, first of all, we all knew what this hearing was about. But not only did we all know what it was about, but there was a legal motion filed prior to this in-chamber hearing taking place that they, in this in-chamber hearing, acknowledged that they all were aware of. And in that motion, the entire purpose of that motion was about the possible disqualification of these attorneys. So for Baldwin and Rosie to say they had no prior knowledge of this is a moot point because they themselves acknowledged they had read that motion and they knew it was out there because that was filed by David Hennessy that morning. So even though we all knew what this hearing was going to be about, and for them to say they didn't is kind of asinine to begin with, but they themselves acknowledged they knew what this hearing was about.
Yeah. I don't know. That's it. Hey, Alexa. Hey, guys.
Hey, Alexa.
So, hello, everyone. A quick stop. my information, this doesn't look good for Judge Gull. Alexis thought, hey, Frank tried calling me during the live, and I was like, Frank, I'm live. Frank, if you want to come up, feel free. If you have anything that you want to say, just let me know, and then I'll send you a link.
We can all debate this from dawn until dusk, but it's the Supreme Court of Indiana that's going to make that decision. I just hope that after they make it, everyone accepts that decision.
Yeah.
I have a feeling I know what that decision will be. But regardless of what it is, I'll accept it. I hope everyone can.
Well, come on. Share your thoughts. I'll tell you mine if you tell me yours.
I mean,
I'll show you mine.
I said either way, however the Supreme Court decides, I will support that decision. If they decide that Gull stays, I support it. If they decide she goes, I'll support it.
I'm right, because we're here for the girls at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line of it. I think that Judge Gull will be staying. I don't think she's going anywhere at all. Myself, I like I said, I mean, if Travis was on here, he could sit there and say more about that part. But to me, everything we read in there, was again pretty much what we thought had gone on anyway, and it's just seeing it in words of how it was said. But at the end of the day, for me personally, I just want the proceedings just to, with all this crap, just move on, because it's going to go the way it's going to go regardless. So whether you're a Gull hater or a Gull liker, like I said, we're here for the girls first and foremost, and that's all that matters. And if Judge Gull deems that, and I understand, I could see why it would be deemed as gross negligence in a sense. But again, I don't understand enough about the law, knowing that Travis has talked to us about, if somebody goes pro bono, that, Sixth Amendment right and stuff like that. But honestly, I think it's going to be staying the way it is with his lawyers that he has now and Judge Gull. And then I think agree. The case. Is that what you think?
I agree, but I'll support whatever decision the Supreme Court makes.
Absolutely.
Because that's what they're there for. And the sad thing is, though, I think that regardless of the Supreme Court's decision, you're going to have, I think that if the Supreme Court decides to keep Gull on this case, you're going to have a lot of people that don't like Gull then turn to you that the Supreme Court of Indiana is corrupt.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And to me, it's just like kicking that can down the street. It's like, how much bigger of a dust storm can you make this when there's really nothing there? It's like, oh, this person didn't do it, so I got to push the blame to this person, And if the Supreme Court of Indiana decides the Gull should be removed, she'll be removed. And that's what should happen. Yeah. But I think that if they don't remove her, you're going to have the people that don't like Gull accuse the Supreme Court of being corrupt. And I think that's, excuse my language, but I think it's bullshit. It's like these people that are having this groundswell on the 27th. It's stupid. It's ludicrous. It's bullshit. No disrespect if you're going. Everyone has the right to do that. I just think it's BS that anyone thinks they're going for their own rights.
I think there's a small chance. Yeah, same. Absolutely. Yeah, so sorry. I remember hearing groundswell, and then someone, the Unraveling, made a video or something called Groundswell.
They're organizing it.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be about meeting at the court or whatever. And so what are they protesting? That what?
By their own words, they're requesting that by their own words, they are requesting that Baldwin and Rosie are put back on the case.
Yeah.
That he's given a speedy trial or within 70 days, and that Gull is removed.
Yeah, I doubt that's all going to happen.
But in the narrative to the whole thing, they're like, this isn't just about Richard Allen. It's about all of our rights.
Oh, okay.
You know what? Okay. Like I said, I support the right to a peaceful protest 100%. Anyone that wants to go out there on the 27th should, and they should.
Absolutely, like anything, right?
Yeah, of course.
Like anything.
I can see the forest through the trees on that one.
Hey, if this,
There's propaganda happening, and good luck.
yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, I know I wouldn't be there myself. I'm just going to let Supreme Court decide. And my personal opinion would be that Gall stays, the two lawyers stay. At the end of the day, whatever happens, happens. It's for the girls. I just care about the girls, you guys, honestly. I just care about Abby and Libby and what they deserve. They deserve what's best for them, to be honest with you. And I'm not so convinced that they're ever going to get what's the justice that they deserve, to be honest with you. This case has been nothing but a short of a mockery of a case. Like, seriously. I mean, I can't help but feel so badly for the victims' families, and just to be put through this constant, you know,
It's
joke.
nauseating.
It's really just sickening watching a case turn into what this case has. And I don't even know how I feel about Abby and Libby getting their justice at the end of the day. I don't know. Let me put it this way. I really hope that the prosecution has that smoking gun, or whatever you want to call it, to at least, if they do, um, I'll, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because you just want the right person prosecuted, right person in jail. Abby and Libby get justice, and the family can get some sort of closure. Not even that it's
Right.
closure, but this is going on to its seventh year come February 14th. It's just sad. It's just all around sad. But this stuff always has to happen. But this is different, right? Delphi is like some of those, small percentage cases where you get some really sick, twisted ones and stuff like that. But this one's just turned into, I don't even know what to say. Like, what are we going to hit? The 10-year mark? Still no justice for Abby and Libby? That's what saddens me, to be honest with you. But let me see what you guys are all saying here. Um, well, I mean, it's all about our rights. Well,
Right.
if the Supreme Court if the Supreme Court deals that there's no issue going on, I'm good with that. Then I think that the rights were taken care of properly and whatever. So I'm not so convinced that Judge Fran Gull broke that Sixth Amendment right or whatever. But I'm not a lawyer, you know, and a lot of you guys aren't either. So, you guys know that the defense diaries will be talking about it and stuff. And of course, they're the defense diaries they're for the defense side. But at the end of the day,
And even if you are a lawyer, just because you're a lawyer doesn't mean you know what the Indiana Supreme Court is going to decide.
right? Yeah, I think Kara made that clear when she was talking. You
Right.
know,
She sounded, yeah, I respected her, everything she was saying. I thought, it was very humble, and it was very honest,
yeah.
and intelligent.
Ivy, I'm not saying that the Supreme Court is corrupt. It just sounds like it's very hard to get a mandamus granted, in my opinion. Judges tend to not like ruling against other judges. Well, I want to say in somewhat just reading that, it kind of reminds me of when I was a general manager of a hotel. Um, the CEO and all that stuff. Um, so let's say I made a decision to fire someone and they didn't really like it. They would never step in our way and overstep us, in a sense. They would let whatever decision we made happen, even if they did not agree with it, because they did not want to interfere in how we managed it. So I kind of see that with the courts. Like, if she didn't do anything wrong, like, look, if she did do stuff wrong, obviously, like, she has misstepped. She's had to put back documents on the docket and stuff like that. And I was expecting more of a response about why she wasn't going to show the transcripts. And instead, we got the transcripts on there. I don't think courts like to overstep their boundaries, especially if there's nothing that's done wrong. I don't know. That's my personal thoughts there. Um, I think that if the ruling with the judge would ultimately change our rights, then they kind of have to rule against the judge. if, if she did anything wrong, if the Supreme Court deals she did anything wrong. Am I not correct in that? Am I wrong in saying that?
Yeah.
And IRS family have a right to justice. They all have a right to their justice, including Richard Allen.
Right.
Shane.
And don't forget, if Baldwin and Rosie were to get reinstated as attorneys, that in itself brings up a huge point of contention for an appeal. So for any of these people, they're like, oh well, if Gull stays, it's gonna make this have an appeal. Trust me, any appellate court, and there are lots of case law to support that. Baldwin and Rosie getting reinstated as attorneys would open this up for an appeal immediately upon his conviction if that were to happen.
Yeah. I think Slick Nick has more evidence than we know. Well, according to some YouTubers, yeah. Well, it's not fact unless it's in front of my eyes, but I would like to think so. I would like to hope so. I would like to hope that they have the right person in, I guess we'll call it prison, to be honest with you, that there was enough to obviously arrest him, and that they have the right person in there. It would be a shit show it would be a shit show. It's a shit show either way half the time, to be honest with you. It's like
there's a very big difference in what's happening inside of a court and what's happening in the public arena. I've tried to bring that up ever since that memorandum came out. Because there were immediately when that memorandum came out, I said these attorneys could get thrown off this case. And everyone's like, no, it's true. The Odinism thing is real. It's real. All of this stuff. I'm like, just because you're reading something doesn't mean it's true. You're reading something that's written by one side of the story, and the public arena is very different than a courtroom.
I was wondering why Charmaine said who dis harsh. Then I went to go look at what who dis said. Oh, you're Canadians.
What? Hey, I agree with who dis on that. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, who dis. Sorry. She's just mad because she only had this freaking one sentence about 30 times in the thing. She wanted more of an active role in this transcript. Oh, he's a smart ass. I'm still on the fence about the appellate court thing. Let's see. Comments are weird and not showing unless I exit. Yeah. Who does? That's what you get for freaking dissing me about being a Canadian, eh? They think there will be an appeal regardless.
Said they have. If there's a conviction, there's always an appeal if there's a conviction. So, it doesn't, just because there's an appeal doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Oops. Hey, I went blurry. Yeah, you guys are talking about the motorcycle cover. Art of Deduction mentioned it in the live. I mentioned it a couple days later. Some people are going hush hush, but there's more to the story than that, right?
But just know that none of that's confirmed either.
It's not confirmed. Go ahead.
Those are things that have been around. Yes, there was a motorcycle cover taken in the evidence from Rich Allen's house. But the significance of it, we don't know factually. There's speculation as to what the importance of it is, and that may be correct, but
I'm blurry. What's that?
I've not seen any proven significance to it. And the people that are saying they have.
And by the way, I never said that you got your pictures from Julie. I
think that was a miscommunication. I went and cleared it up.
Well, I watched it. I just wanted to make sure because
he said Fig and Julie. And I was or an anonymous email. And I was like, no. I was like, I didn't get the pictures from Fig or Julie or an anonymous email.
Which he has if he goes and scrolls back because he knows it was from that you said it was from an email address.
No,
And
no, I said it was from a friend on you, but not someone that's on YouTube.
the pictures.
Yeah.
No, you clearly said you got it from someone that sent them to you from an email. I literally sent you the screenshot.
Yeah, it was a friend that's not on YouTube. An email.
Oh, that part I didn't know. You said it was an anonymous email. That's what you told me. I know what you told me. Anonymous email. Because remember, you can go back and look at our conversation. Either way, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Who cares? Who cares? Everyone has their own mission for what they're trying to figure out. I respect that. You know, Art's mission was to find who about the Mike Thomas situation and the leaking of the information and who was the first one to kind of leak it and stuff like that. It's personally a line that I could care less about, to be honest. The pictures are out there, so that's a given, and they're just going to keep getting spread around. That's a given. At the end of the day, again, it really just boils down to, you know, most of us have spent tons of time going down rabbit holes after rabbit holes after rabbit holes, believing it was this person or that person or this scenario or that scenario. And everyone has the right to go dig and do whatever they want to, whatever their thing is. It's no different than me, you, and Dad. We all had our own little areas that we thought were more, you know what I mean? When you have your own personal rabbit hole, you go down that, I went down this, and Deb went down that, and and Art of Destruction goes down his and stuff. Deduction. Why do I say destruction? Art of Destruction. I don't know why I keep saying that. Art of Deduction. Sorry. And so each to their own. Seriously. And if that's his path to go down, then so be it. Right. Each to their own. It's not my personal path because I'm on the path anymore. Back a few months ago, we're just on the path of justice for Abby and Libby.
Right.
We were just really.
I appreciate Frank's determination, though. I don't agree with everything he says, but I kind of like the fire he's got in him, and I was in his chat last night trying to show support. So.
Yeah, I wasn't fond of that live though the other day. I watched it. Wasn't fond of that live. You got to let people, not meaning Frank, but Ruckus, you need to let people talk, dude. I'm like loosey goosey. I would have personally have left that stage if I had to repeat myself. But
he came on the live last night and explained that he apologized and explained that I guess he'd been overserved a little bit that day. So.
Overserved, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna lie. My twin sisters, the guy that she used to be with, his name was Dave, and that guy would repeat himself, kind of like what Ruckus was doing. I would repeat himself, but Dave was way worse. Dave used the F-bomb every other word, and he would repeat himself. Finally, after an hour, I'm just like, get out of my house, seriously. I cannot seriously listen to you for 1 hour repeating yourself in a freaking ass circle. Anyways, I'm glad he apologized because I know Ruckus is a good guy.
He went on to apologize yesterday. That I didn't see all of the live you're talking about, but I heard that it was.
I wasn't planning on it. Yeah, I wasn't planning on it, but I was just like, YOLO, fine. I'll just sit here and listen to it. At the end of the day, I don't know. I mean, I probably could have served 3 hours doing other things for sure.
Right.
But I just was like,
I really like Jamie Hicks. She was on the live yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
I really like Jamie Hicks.
Yeah, Jamie Hicks is around a lot in people's chats. She goes on lives. Ivy Rose likes to join lives too and talk about things, and she's been on here, and we appreciate that too. I always appreciate people that are really invested into the case, that do want to pop up on the lives and stuff like that. Because there's some people that just sit in the background and they don't ever want to go on a live, but they want to just participate in their own certain way in a live. And then there's, like what?
Like who dis?
No, well, who dis has popped on it sometimes.
Play.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know after that Canadian comment though, but no, just kidding. But yeah. So then there's people that like Steffa too. She likes to go on lives and talk when she can.
Never heard of her.
I was gonna say, right. Um, as for the whole motorcycle cover thing, again, I don't know. Like from everything I personally learned, I haven't seen one shred of piece of paper that ever has shown about these documents. Does it make it not true? No. Um, but what? I was legit pointing to myself before you said funny. It's if you heard it, yeah. If you're drunk, then Ruckus probably would have sounded like musical notes to my ears if I was drunk
Oh,
with him.
yeah.
Probably would have been laughing my ass off.
Hey, I appreciate it. I appreciated that, he immediately, was like, hey, this is what happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? I wonder if he went and re-listened to himself.
Oh. Well, I mean, I have to admit, there were parts of what it was a little much. It was a little aggressive. Well, it was very aggressive.
It was actually very aggressive.
Yeah, it was very, but several of the points he was making, it's one of those things where it's like
Yes.
the message gets lost in its delivery.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that he was necessarily wrong in some of the things he was saying.
Or asking,
It was the style in which he was going about it, and that I'm sure was just because of the tequila. So I don't think Ruckus is a bad guy. I appreciated that he went on to say he was sorry. I hope that Sleuthy, I don't know her, but I hope Sleuthy is receptive to that. But that's her decision, clearly.
Sleuthy doesn't strike me as a weak personality.
No, not at all.
So I'm sure she can handle herself just fine. I know I would have gotten all.
I think Frank over there was tickled pink.
Probably.
Just watching it.
But you're correct on that, because there was a lot of good points being made, or what Ruckus was asking. It just got lost when he was trying to force Sleuthy Goosey, because even there was a question that he asked: is Richard Allen guilty, yes or no? Even I cannot answer that yes or no,
right?
Because I am not 100%.
And you could tell she was trying. She was answering it completely honestly, in her opinion. As far as like, she's like, it's not a black or white answer. She's like, given what we know. I can't remember exactly what she said, but her answer made complete sense to me. And he was just like, nope, yes or no.
Yeah, right. And
I don't want to harp on Ruckus, but
why not? I mean, we spend how many hours? I spend how many hours listening to him? Yeah, damn you, Ruckus. You can listen to me for a minute. No, I'm totally glad that he apologized for that. Ruckus is a good guy, and booze can kind of, get you repeating yourself or get you in a whole different zone there a bit. But he did have some good points to make. As for the things, like one of the things he kept saying, and this is where I'm gonna, where you don't really know, because we know that there's tons of people saying, no, I haven't seen the pictures, or yes, I've seen the pictures, and blah. So Ruckus was trying to say, well, if you've seen that pictures, then we can have a conversation type of idea. And where she's like, well, no, I've seen, hey, there's no freaking antlers, people. Okay, I don't care how you slice or dice it. There's no friggin' antlers on top of Abby's head. So that depiction that True Crime Design put out, like that, you guys know, like the freaking horns on my thumbnail for tonight with the horns on Elvis's thing. When they said that was one of the most, biggest pieces right there. Well, great. Go look at the pictures. There's no freaking horns on her head at all. You can see where there was like twigs, like as if somebody puts like a handful of twigs and leaves, perhaps. There's no freaking antlers coming off. So this will be an interesting live tonight, talking about Elvis Fields and that whole part of the memorandum from page 91 to like 98 or something like that it was.
Oh yeah, I forgot that we were doing that.
Oh yeah. Oh, right.
Oh wait, still?
Yeah. I mean, we could run it into now, but prefer not to.
We need a 4-hour break. Or 3-hour break.
Yeah. Gotta get some stuff together. He is a good guy. I don't know Ruckus too well, but if Deb says he's a good guy, well, then again, Deb. I mean, you thought Noah was a decent guy too, but
I mean, she likes me. She clearly has bad taste in guys.
definitely. I know. I think we're gonna have to vote that. Oh, you guys don't forget, congratulations to Deb for getting over the 1,000. Congratulations to us for getting over 10,000. Truly appreciate your support with this, coming to the live, supporting, hitting the like button, supporting through donations and all the different stuff. Love you very much. And thank you guys for also again supporting Deb, because sometimes it really sucks when the good channels like Deb's takes forever to get to 1,000, and you see some of those other channels grow really fast because of drama and stuff like that. It's really sad and twisted. It should not be that way, but it is that way, sadly. But thank you guys for Deb as well, and anyone else
Thank you so much. Yeah,
that's a
Deb
YouTube
deserves it.
creator. Yeah, anyone else that's a YouTube creator that follows us or needs help, in promoting them to try to get to their 1,000 as well. We're always there for that, only if you're a decent person, and that you propagate caring and sharing about other individuals and stuff like that.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
Kelly, I think it was actually like 5.5 hours. I didn't watch all of it, but
I feel like it was like, I think you're right. You know what? I, I think you're right. And I feel like there was that end part of it I didn't watch, perhaps. I don't know. It was late enough as it was, you
well, yeah,
know.
like in yesterday, I watched every minute of Tom Webster's life.
Oh, I
I
already.
watched every minute of it, and
Which one? The live?
yeah. Oh
How
yeah, I
long?
didn't watch that. I didn't watch his 7. I mean, I would love to 7-hour video.
How long was this live? I stayed for a half an hour, and then I
2 hours
started.
and 59 minutes. I mean, 3 hours and 1 minute.
Mm,
But I watched every minute of it, and so then, like after it was done, I was like, "Oh, here." That's when I came across the Frank guys live from yesterday. So
yeah,
that's what I heard Ruckus talking about the night before.
yeah. I I was working on a video, that video that I put out about the gentleman that was got paralyzed in a police station in Jefferson County. Thank you,
Yeah,
YouTube, for restricting it, turning it yellow. Documentary, educational. I never exploit anyone like that. This is all to do about showing something that you're not showing it. It was shown in a very documentary type way to say, hey, do you believe that this was excessive? Do you believe it was not excessive? There was no exploiting it whatsoever. I sent the appeal in because instantly, Adam, instead of doing what they typically do, so
yeah.
even though it turned yellow and I was trying to tweak it so it would turn green, then it didn't. So I just went in as unlisted. Well, go figure that YouTube now wants to freaking give it a rating right away. And instantly it was like plus 18 restricted. And I was like, right. And
Huh.
so I appeal it. Guess what? 30 seconds later,
Did I?
rejected. Thank you for manually looking at it. Thank you so much for that manual 30-second look.
They watched every minute. They watched every minute. They were like, "Nope."
It just, yeah. So I was working on that. Nice waste of my life for 3 hours, but I didn't care. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Okay, there you go. Give
Right,
me another yellow freaking thing and tell me that until my whatever approves that you'll choose the ads or play whatever for me and stuff like that. Whatever.
right.
It just gets so. I was literally after that. I was like literally depressed. I was like, what a waste of 3 hours. Thank you, YouTube. You guys don't even look at it, and that's the part that pisses me off. You sit there and you watch. I literally watched this prank, okay? This prank from Top Notch, Top Notch Idiots, and this prank was about freaking pulling out a GUN in a store and literally, legitly scaring the shit out of people,
Oh,
right? That is not funny.
right.
And that video sits up there. Like, that thing shouldn't even be on the internet. How do you sit there and go into a store and you literally pull out a GUN on people and then call that a prank? Meanwhile, these
Yeah.
people are like, they literally played the whole part, cop cars, everything. It's just ridiculous, you
Right.
know? And so I have, a video that isn't exploitive whatsoever. And it just pisses me off to no end. Some fairness of it all, guys. Oh, by the way, if you guys in your videos now, you guys, if I say please hit like and subscribe, if you guys make a video, please make sure you say that in your video at some point, because your like button, your subscribe button will turn rainbow color basically. And your like, those little different buttons. YouTube has it now, I guess, where if you say that now, you can't just say it. I think you can say it every 3 minutes. But when you make a video and you say hit like and subscribe, well, you'll see the subscribe button with nice, pretty colors around it. Anyways, I think we're good for this live. You guys there's other people on lives right now. Defense Diaries, Criminality.
Okay. Yes, so we'll see everyone later tonight.
Yeah, we're going to be doing Elvis Field's topic of discussion, and I know people have a lot of opinion on that one. So willing to hear there's a lot of people that seem to have their opinion on Elvis Fields, one way or the other. I'm interested, in what people's thoughts are, because I know it's kind of like a lopsided thing on that one. I really kind of brushed the guy off for the most part. But I thought it would be a good topic, since it is something that people are like, that are liking to talk about, which is the Elvis Fields one. So I thought it would be a good topic to bring up tonight for sure. Okay, you guys. Anyways, love you guys. Take care. Have a good one. And we'll see you tonight. Yeah. This is Sunny Justice and Aspen Connor from It's a Crime and Shame, wishing you all a good night.